Howdy folks, Dreadshells here, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Doing something slightly different here today for a video. Taking a break from the chain of SP1C games that I've been showing you guys to give you guys a little bit of variety of the videos that I'll be showing you over the course of the next week or so, and showing you a game that I had in my WZ-131, the Chinese Tier 7 Scout Tank. Or I should say one of them, the other one being the Type 62, which is the premium. And here we are on Live Oaks. Now Live Oaks I actually fairly like as a map. It's not my favorite, and I don't hate it. I would say it's kind of in the 70 percentile map that I like. There's definitely a list of maps that I don't like a lot more than this. I think this map is okay. There's some certain balancing issues going on with the south rail tracks here, but I like the symmetry that goes on in between the flanks, especially in late game, and I like the vision potential that can happen in the late game. There is limited spotting potential here at the beginning, but as the game unfolds and progresses, there's lots of opportunity to relocate, get different angles on your enemy, and get spots or get damage and flank. So taking a look at the team comps here real quick before we start the battle, we can see that they have a lot of mid-tier mobility here with a KR, the Schwarz Panzer, which is, I think, is a ridiculous name that Wargaming gave this tank, by the way, and the TVP, 1390, and the Bulldog. The T26E5, even though it's a heavy and definitely has heavy frontal armor, actually has quite good mobility, so it can keep up with the Patton KR pretty well. And the T54E1s, they're technically classified as mediums, the Tier 9 American mediums that come just before the T57 Heavy, and they also get a 4-shot autoloader if you're using the top gun on the tank. They're not exclusively what I would call a traditional medium tank. They're kind of this weird hybrid in between a medium and a heavy, where they have more mobility than a heavy would at its tier on average, but they have slightly less armor, but their turret armor is really trollish sometimes because it's really well sloped. So they're kind of in this weird in-between zone of heavy and medium, kind of like the IS-8 was the Tier 9 Russian heavy before it got changed into the T10, and they reworked the armor profiles and the hitboxes and the modeling of the tank. So basically, because they have all that mobility, I don't really feel like it's a good idea for me to go down south. Especially from the southwest spawn. The southwest spawn is kind of put into more of a choke point here. You can see that this south, if you look to the south and to the east of this rail track here, you'll notice that this formation of land south of it is parallel to the rail tracks. And if you look over here, this formation that the northeast spawn team gets, that is south and east of the rail tracks here, is a lot wider. So it's a lot easier for the south team, or excuse me, the northeast spawn team, to get kind of better angles of attack on the southwest team here. Of course, if you're playing this map, by the way, as a suggestion, and if you have enough tanks over here on this southeast flank, commit into this draw right here. Make sure you have some teammates up here that can support you and keep the enemy tanks down. But usually whoever commits and wins this draw here and has sniper support to keep the enemy tanks heads down to keep them from counter pushing you, usually will win this side of the map. And then if you win the side of the map, you can eventually come around and flank the enemy team's formation in the city. But anyway, let's just get going before I ramble too much longer. And you'll notice I'm platooned with a guy in an IS-3. This guy is actually a random person that I ran into a game that I had in my SP1C on Prokhorovka, I think, or Fiery Salient, one of the versions of Prokhorovka. And I probably will be showing you guys the game that I had with him later on in the week. But threw out a random invite and decided to platoon with him for a few games. Our T-54 lightweight is going full YOLO, which is a really nice way of saying he's doing something really stupid, being way too aggressive, especially early in the game. And you can see that why it's a really bad decision, because all the tanks from the northeast spawn that go to the south can post up on these rail tracks here and shoot anyone from the southwest team that goes over here where this 54 lightweight is quite easily. And we can see that the enemy team have already committed into this this center ditch here that's halfway point down the rail tracks. And especially because my team sat back here in defensive positions, I know that we don't have the initiative anymore on the south flank. Anticipated it from the team comp of the enemy, but that is how it unfolded for sure now. Kind of frustrated that no one shot that Jagdpanther 2 while he was on the top side of the rail tracks. We had a SU-122-44, a Bulldog, and a T-29 here that had easy shots on this Jagdpanther. Take a speculative shot there at the 1390 as he disappears. All right, so now I'm starting to relocate and move. Now that the enemy has been spotted and we know where the dispersion is, there's no reason for me to be sitting here anymore, really. We don't have very good snipers in general, and they're not in very good positions to be shooting anything that I might be spotting later over here. My teammates are already spotting everything here on the south flank, so I don't need to stay here for that either. Plus, if you stay in this position here too long and you wait too long to leave, the enemy team that pushes up along the south rail tracks here, and if they get to this point right here, it's going to be very difficult for you to leave without getting spotted. And if you get spotted, then you'll most likely not be able to leave the swamp without dying, because this is soft terrain right here, and your mobility is significantly reduced as you're relocating. So I left for that reason, and the other reason is I know I can't push the tempo on this flank. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to relocate up here into the city, which is kind of strange for a scout to be doing, to be brawling with heavies, but it's a better option than me shooting a bunch of auto-loading tanks here in the south and a lot of mobility here in the south, because at least here in the city the enemy is distracted by my heavies that are already positioned here. So I'm going to relocate back up here into the city with my platoon mate and see if we can expedite the situation in the city and help kill out these tanks in the city. Basically, I know that it's very unlikely that we will win this, so I'm saying we need to win the city as quickly as possible. That way we don't have tanks in the city to fight and the tanks that will eventually be coming up behind us, and I don't want to fight the enemy in two different directions. So I'm going to try and do what I can to kill out the enemies here in the city as quickly as possible. Coming up along here along the three-line street to start some flanking here. I knew that the T-29 just fired there. I saw the smoke discharge from his gun and I heard him fire, so I knew I had time to put a second shot into him. He just shot my platoon mate there, so I knew I had time to shoot again. Dirty enemy already is shooting at me. Not sure if that was the M12 or the M53-55. Probably the M12, as the 53-55 has larger splash radius. But hey, you know, Arty prevents camping, even though I'm frontline brawling. Insert sarcasm here. So we get a nice fire there into the back of the E75 here. Have some premium loaded here for the E75, even though I have back and rear shots, just because I don't want RNG to give me a low roll on my pen and then me not pen an easy shot on the E75. I want to be able to do inconsistent damage here. And switch back to AP now that the E75 is dead. Unfortunately, my platoon mate bled too much HP there in his flanking maneuver, and the enemy Arty was able to shoot down this horizontal A-line street here and kill him. Staying in what little cover that this water tower provides me from enemy Arty. before I move again and wait till I get unspotted. And now I'm relocating back over here to help defend base. Our Yeg Panther 2 is the last tank left alive down here in this K4 corner. But I'm about to be intercepted by an AMX 1390 who also decided that this was the time for initiative for him to move. Which is kind of frustrating because now I have an auto-loading tier 8 light to deal with here, which is really scary for me because he can easily one-clip me. So I'm being really conservative here, trying to use the cover, not sure who's going to engage first. And he's completely ignoring me. Really bad auto-aiming shot there, especially with the tank going the speed that the 1390 is. Basically, completely perpendicular to me. It's quite unlikely that I would hit an auto-aim shot, even at close range. And for some bizarre reason, the 1390 completely ignored me and was trying to put his shots into the IS-6 for some weird reason. I'm not sure. But I'll take whatever the enemy gives me. And I was able to put 2 or 3 shots into the 1390, and we were able to get him killed. So our E-75 and T-32 are continuing to move up here into the north. I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. I think it would be better for them to relocate back here with this IS-6 to help defend Cap. And we're able to put a couple shots there into the T-54E1, who's was assaulting our base. And if you've been paying attention to the view range ring here, the 445 meter view range ring, I know that unless he has an insanely good crew, that I will keep him right on the edge of me of the range where I can spot him and I can shoot him without worrying too much about him spotting me. Someone else, maybe his platoon mate, might relocate up here and spot me, but he probably won't spot me. Now trying to respot that T-54E1 to see if he might have retreated and going back east, but I don't see him. So it's most likely that he's still keeping his head down and staying in cover behind this K2 building back here. Our IS-6 here is moving up here into G1 and H1. And so now that he's in the same position that I'm in, I want to multiply the angle that I am with the enemy. The T-54E1 decides to move out here, and I'm going to pause the game here. Was really unfortunate timing that the T-54E1 decided to relocate and start I don't know, maybe he wasn't going to push, but he decided to relocate, and he ended up spotting me at the same time that I was going to relocate. My plan initially was to come around here like this and come up to the side of this building factory formation right here, and then maybe I would be able to spot him from the side here, and that way between me and the I-6 we have basically 90 degrees difference in angle of attack on this guy, and he wouldn't be able to stay in cover from both of us. But now I'm in a kind of a tricky situation here because I'm caught in between two tanks. Fortunately, the Schwarzpanzer is a one-shot, but if he wasn't, the principle of the matter is stay in cover from the most dangerous tank, right? If you can't stay in cover, if you find yourself in a situation that you can't avoid being in like this, where you're caught between two enemy tanks, stay in cover from the more dangerous enemy tank. And the more dangerous enemy tank is the T-54E1, because he has a 4-shot autoloader that does 390 damage average each. So he can easily 3-shot me and potentially 2-shot me if he gets really super high rolls, which is kind of unlikely. So you would have to put 3 shots into me. But he has way more potential to do damage to me than the Schwarzpanzer here. So I'm keeping this building here in between me and him, even though it is destructible. If he wants to shoot me, he's going to have to waste a couple of shells to break down this building to shoot me, and in which case he won't be able to probably kill me, as he only has 2 or 1 shells left in his autoloader. So now I keep the building in between me and him, and start turning around to engage the Schwarzpanzer. And unfortunately, I lose vision on the Schwarzpanzer there. And I decide, now that the 54E1 is moving and he doesn't have very good accuracy, and now I have a really good opportunity to relocate here and get into cover. And relocate and get the kill secured on the Schwarzpanzer and get his gun out of the fight. And now we can see here that the T-54E1 here that's in the south is trying to retreat and make it back into the rail tracks area. But our IS-6 is able to prevent him from doing so and catches him out before he gets into cover into this factory area right here. Kind of a bad decision for him and his platoon mate to split up. They probably should have teamed up, and they could have either pushed our flank or gone back and easily defended the north here. So now I anticipate that I'm going to be shooting arty, so I have an HE shell loaded. And get a nice punchy roll there of 349, almost 350 damage. Making sure to shoot the I don't know what you would call it, not the superstructure, the turret, I guess, of the M5355, so I have more of a chance of penning. If I shoot the tracks could eat the shell and I could just do like 100 damage to them. Fortunately, my first shot only tracks the T-54E1 and doesn't do damage, but I do get some assistance damage for tracking him here. And I'm able to reload in time before the E-75 is able to kill him, and I'm able to get the kill on the T-54E1. So the funny thing about this game, as you guys will see in the post-game results, is that this was statistically a very, very big result, damage-wise, assistance, and most of all, base XP-wise. I got over 2,000 base XP in this game, but the funny thing is if you were watching the gameplay, it didn't really feel like that kind of a game, and that's because basically the enemy left me alone or ignored me the entire game. Part of that of me was being the tank that was more difficult to engage, so being the flanking, being maneuverable, being mobile. But the other part of it was, for instance, in the situation with that 1390, they were just completely ignoring me. So don't interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake and take full advantage of it. So yeah, once again, was platooning with a random guy that I met up with in a game. I don't remember what it was, 3 or 4 games before this one on this particular play session of this day, and I enjoyed my time platooning with him. I want to thank you guys for watching this game in the WZ-131 on Live Oaks. Wish you guys the best of luck out there in playing on Live Oaks, and hopefully I gave you guys some ideas about how to play this map, not just in light tanks, but in any tank that you play, and gave you some guys some ideas about how the meta works on this map. Once again, wish you guys the best of luck, and take care.